The restaurant was too fancy for a man like Ethan. He kept checking the text message from his buddies, the one that said, "Relax, man. She's perfect for you. Just go." But they had conveniently forgotten to tell him that the woman he was about to meet, his supposed perfect match, was sitting in a wheelchair, staring down at a menu she couldn't even lift on her own. And when their eyes met, she whispered something he never expected. "Please, don't feel sorry for me." At that moment, Ethan realized this wasn't just a blind date. This was a setup, a cruel joke, and he had to decide whether to quietly escape or stay and show kindness to a woman the world had already judged. Before we continue, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. It helps us grow and bring you more powerful stories every week. Welcome to True Story Tales, where real emotions create real change. Ethan wasn't the kind of man who belonged in upscale restaurants with velvet curtains and wine lists longer than his grocery bills. He was a single dad, working 2 jobs, raising his 7-year-old daughter Lily with more love than money. So when his friends signed him up for a blind date, he figured it was a harmless prank or a desperate attempt to get him back into the dating world. But the moment he saw her, Emily, he felt the weight of embarrassment settle on his shoulders. Not because she was in a wheelchair, but because he realized his friends likely expected him to bail the second he saw her. They wanted to laugh about it later. They wanted him to be shocked, uncomfortable, confused. Yet the woman in front of him didn't seem like a joke. She looked elegant, dressed in a soft blue blouse, her brown hair pulled into a neat bun. Her hands rested still on her lap, and when she spoke, her voice was steady but tired, like she was used to being disappointed. "You don't have to stay," she said. "I know how this usually goes." Ethan blinked. "Usually?" She took a slow breath. "People see the wheelchair, and suddenly they have somewhere else to be." For a moment, Ethan felt the anger rise, not at her, but at the world that made her think she deserved to be abandoned. He pulled out his chair and sat down. "Well," he said gently, "I'm already here, and I'm starving." A tiny smile broke across Emily's face. "Okay, then let's eat." The waiter came over, and Ethan noticed how Emily struggled to lift the menu with her weakened hands. Without making a big deal of it, he leaned closer and whispered, "Want me to read it to you?" Her cheeks flushed. "If you don't mind." He didn't mind at all as he read. He caught glimpses of her face, how her eyes lit up at the descriptions, how she laughed when he exaggerated the fancy dish names. It wasn't pity he felt. It was something else, something warm. Throughout dinner, they talked like old friends who had simply forgotten they knew each other. She told him she had been paralyzed from the waist down after a car accident 3 years earlier. Not because she wanted sympathy, but because she was used to getting the obvious questions out of the way. He told her about Lily, how she loved drawing on the walls and dancing in the kitchen while pancakes burned. Emily leaned forward. "You talk about her with so much love. That's rare." "She's my world," Ethan said softly. Emily's smile dimmed for a second. "I used to dream about having a family someday." "You still can," Ethan replied without thinking. She blinked in surprise, as if no one had said those words to her in a long time. When dinner ended, Ethan offered to walk her to the parking lot. "I have a driver who helps me," she said, "but I'd like the company." Outside, the night air was cool, the breeze gentle. Her driver arrived, lifted her wheelchair into the car, and helped her inside. Before the door closed, Emily looked at Ethan. "Thank you for treating me like a person." He gave her a warm smile. "You are a person, Emily. A pretty great one." She didn't reply, but the look in her eyes said enough. That night, Ethan's phone buzzed nonstop. His friends wanted details. They were laughing before he could even type. "Bro, did you stay? Dude, that's so awkward. Tell us you dipped." Ethan stared at the messages. Disgusted, he typed back only one thing: "Grow up." And then he left the group chat. Over the next few weeks, Ethan and Emily texted often, sometimes for hours. They talked about books, movies, and life. Emily told him about physical therapy and the pain that came and went. Ethan confided in her about parenting struggles, bills, and exhaustion. One evening, Emily texted him, "Would you maybe want to go out again? Something simple. Maybe a park." His response came instantly, "I'd love to." The day of the park visit arrived bright and sunny. Lily tagged along, buzzing with excitement. "Is she your friend?" Lily asked. "Yep," Ethan said. "A good one." When Emily arrived, Lily ran up to her without hesitation and handed her a dandelion. Here, for you. Emily's eyes softened. Thank you, sweetheart. Lily climbed onto Ethan's shoulders and whispered, Dad, she's really nice. Emily laughed when she overheard. I think you're really nice too, Lily. The three of them spent hours feeding ducks, sharing ice cream, and telling stories. Every time Emily laughed, Ethan felt something shift inside him. He hadn't expected to feel this. Connected. A week later, something unexpected happened. Emily invited Ethan to her workplace. I want to show you something, she said. Ethan assumed she worked in an office as an assistant or maybe part of a rehab center. But when they arrived, the building was massive, glass walls, a giant logo, security at every corner. Are you sure we're in the right place? He asked, confused. Emily smiled. Come with me. The staff greeted her with respect. Too much respect. They called her ma'am. They moved aside when she passed. And when she rolled through the double doors into the top-floor conference room, Ethan froze, sitting at the head of the long table, her wheelchair perfectly aligned with the center. Emily looked at him and said, Ethan, I'm the CEO. He blinked. CEO of what? She gestured around them. This entire company. Ethan stared at her, stunned. Why didn't you tell me? She looked down. Because people treat me differently. They either want something from me, or they treat me like I'm fragile. I just wanted someone who saw me as a person. Ethan walked over and gently lifted her chin so their eyes met. I saw you the moment I sat down, he said softly. Not the chair. Not the title. Just you. Her eyes glistened. You have no idea what that means. Over the next few months, their connection deepened. Emily became part of their routine. Movie nights, pancake mornings, silly games with Lily. She even attended Lily's school play, cheering the loudest of everyone. One evening, after Lily fell asleep on the couch, Emily whispered, I was so afraid you would walk away on that first date. Ethan shook his head. Kindness isn't weakness, and you're not someone to walk away from. Tears slipped down her cheeks. He brushed them gently with his thumb. I'm glad you stayed, she said. I'm glad I did too. He replied. 1 year later, on a quiet morning at the same park where they fed ducks together, Ethan held Emily's hands and said the words that had been in his heart for months. I don't care about the wheelchair. I care about you. Will you be part of this family? Emily cried harder than she ever had. But these were happy tears. Yes, she whispered. 1,000 times yes. And Lily, who had been hiding behind a tree, jumped out cheering. I knew it. Their story became a reminder, one that spreads far beyond that park. Kindness can change your entire life. It can heal wounds you can't see. It can build families you never expected. Sometimes, the blind date your friends set up as a joke becomes the greatest gift you ever receive. So today, choose kindness. It might just lead you to a miracle.